All right, today we're gabbing with my friends Abby and Vanessa, who together co-host the podcast Real Moms of Bravo. They also run the amazing corresponding Instagram page. We've been longtime friends. I've been on their show several times. I recently guest co-hosted their show, but I have never had them on my show. So I'm so excited to finally have this moment to have Abby and Vanessa on from Real Moms of Bravo. We're going to be doing a really fun mock fantasy draft of kind of a show that doesn't even exist, but I really want it to exist. So Abby, Vanessa, thanks for being here. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having us. This is Abby, by the way. I know it can get a little confusing with multiple voices, but I'm really excited for this because I think the world needs this show and we're begging for it. So the more we manifest it, the more it's going to happen.
A
Exactly.
firm believer of manifestation over here. This is Vanessa. I had once put out in the universe Luke and Ashley potentially getting together, and it did happen for a minute. So you know what? I'm feeling the good vibes, the good juju that what we're about to present to you will come to fruition.
We're thinking five steps ahead over here. You know what I mean? So, okay. So just to kind of lay the ground rules. So we're going to do another one of our mock fantasy drafts. I've done this for a Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. I've done this for a season 3 of The Traitors before that cast was announced. But now we're going to do something again for a show that I've really been thinking about for a while, which is an Ultimate Girls Trip, but it's for the women of the quote younger shows. I don't know if there's like a better way to label those shows. Do you guys have like a catch-all term for the shows that we're talking about?
Non-housewives.
Yeah, non-housewives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's the non-housewives shows. It's Vanderpump Rules, Summer House, and Southern Charm primarily, but then we also could throw in Martha's Vineyard, Family Karma. I don't watch Below Deck, but I guess if you want to use those as some of your bonus picks, you could. So it's essentially like an all-female version of Winter House because we have seen some of these people together, but we're just not going to have the men. We're not going to have the men on this show. This is a women-only situation. But we're going to each build our fantasy drafts of what that show could look like. We're going to go show by show and one by one. And the only main rule is that once one of us chooses somebody, they can't be chosen by anybody else. And we can pick from past and present cast members. But yeah, that's kind
I
of
have
what we're
like
working with.
a legit, well, I have a like electronic notebook now. Shout out Remarkable, but I'm like literally, I'm
There we go.
notes ready to go.
Oh, I have my notes ready too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Virgo. I'm ready too.
I love the preparation. I love the preparation.
Normally, I'm never prepared. So she's like,
I'm like
always-
actually like legit shocked that Vanessa isn't just
Yeah,
trying to
'cause
click
normally-
tabs right now. Like, yeah.
I fly by the seat of my pants a lot of the times, and Abby's there to usually catch me.
No.
But today I came prepared.
Obsessed. And like last thing I'll say is before we jump into it, Bravo is my sports. I feel like you guys might be more into sports than I am, but like we're putting the sports kind of like framework onto our version of sports. And so I think that's what makes this fun today.
I love it. And I hope when this happens that just like a lot of bars did with Vanderpump Rules watch parties, that they do watch parties for this, because watching Bravo live with other people that are just as obsessed, it's the same reason why men go to bars to watch a football game, because people are like, can't you watch it at home? I'm like, can't you watch the Super Bowl alone? It's so much more fun with people. So
Totally.
just as we're manifesting this, let's also manifest like a lot of watch parties.
Some in-person stuff. Okay. So let's jump into the mock fantasy draft for Ultimate Girls Trip of the non-housewife shows. We're going to start with Vanderpump Rules. We're going to each choose 2 people. We'll go one by one. But Abby, you get to go first for Vanderpump Rules.
I warned you, I'm going to pick polarizing people. And if we get some negative comments, also, I think we should preface, these are not people that we think are winning humanitarian awards. This is to build a very entertaining, good show.
Important to say, and these aren't necessarily our favorite people either.
Yes.
These are people, again, we're rounding out a cast here.
I'm going to go bold, and I'm bringing back Stassi. You probably
Very
knew
good.
that. Yeah.
No,
Very
that's good. I actually think that like this is the kind of thing that she would maybe come back for because it is temporary. It's not opening up her entire life. It's going on vacation for 7 days. You know what I mean?
She's probably going to go to like They're probably going to go like Bora Bora or somewhere. You know, she's got 2 kids. She gets a break, goes on vacation, stirs up some shit.
To Jeff Lewis, they pay very well for 1 week of filming, and then we get 8 episodes, and we get a snippet of her back. So I think this would be a great launch pad for Stassi.
So true. All right, so Stassi's off the table. Vanessa, who are you choosing first from Vanderpump Rules?
I am picking Katie Maloney. I just think she's thriving. She is the #1 girl in the group, and I think she could bring a little mess with Stassi there if they were to be there together. They, obviously have history together. I just think Tequila Katie may come out. She's not afraid to back down, speak her piece. So I think she would be a great addition.
Totally. So since the third person for each show, by the way, gets to choose their two back to back, and then we'll
Oh,
kind
I
of
love
go.
this. Yeah.
Okay. So I am going to choose for my two Vanderpump Rules people, Ariana and Kristen. Okay, so Ariana, because just I think that she is a girl's girl. I think that she is really well liked by pretty much everybody kind of in this universe. But I also think she brings in a lot of like inherent topics to talk about. She brings in all of the sort of Scandival-y things, like number one woman in the group kind of stuff that I think could be interesting to see how other people on other shows react to that, whether they kind of saddle up to her or they're a little jealous of her. And then Kristen, just for the chaos factor, honestly. It's like,
I mean,
and also it's like maybe Ariana and Kristen have to talk about some of like their shared history together, which we haven't really seen. So those are my two picks.
I love
I love
Dodie. I mean, she's a mess.
Me too.
I would love her in this environment, especially without like the men. I think that I love those picks.
Okay.
I love these picks too. I really like bringing Kristen into the mix because she's not afraid to start shit, but also, which I think some of the people, Janet, on the Valley are missing, Kristen will have an ounce of truth to everything she's saying. Like she doesn't pull it out of nowhere, which is like, as viewers, those of us that have been watching for a while know that. So when we were watching the Valley, we're like, no, she's onto something. These aren't just made up, fabricated stories. And I think that will be interesting with another group of people who might know that about her. And I also feel like we didn't get enough of her on the Valley. So
yeah. And I also think that like two other things is one, she didn't really fully mine her scandal of like getting kicked off the show. And I think that Ultimate Girlship is where we sort of break that fourth wall and talk about some of the stuff involving like it being a show. So that's another reason why I think she would be good. And secondly, she kind of is like a bone collector a little bit. She remembers shit from years past and she's been around since day one. So we can be dredging up some good stuff.
You know what would be kind of cheeky and a fun crossover with Ariana? I'm in the throes of Love Island USA, obsessed with it. That's a whole nother show, so I'm not gonna bore you guys with details. But with her being in Fiji and already a host, it'd be kind of cool if she's like brings the girls over and is kind of like a la Dorinda in a way, the host of
hosting.
the home. And
It could be a backdoor pilot almost.
yeah.
Yes, I just think that would be kind of fun, a
That would be
crossover,
really
especially
fun.
since Love Island's on Peacock.
I love that. All right, so Vanessa, who is your second Vanderpump Rules pick from people we have not chosen?
Give them Lala. I'm going with Lala. The internet is hating on her, myself included, but the girl loves a mess and loves to give us a show and loves to say her 2 cents, whether you agree with it or not. She's been piping a lot on podcasts. I would rather contain it to the television show series and, post baby, of course. I listen, and nothing against anyone who's pregnant, but pregnant on a girls trip is not ideal. So I just think she's messy. She's clearly okay going against the status quo. And I just think, love her or hate her, she gives us good television and gives us something to talk about.
I agree. And I also think I'm just so curious to see her around other women because I feel like because she is so like game to mix shit up on her own show. She's kind of done it with every single one of her castmates already. So it's like, what would she do with people from Summer House or Southern Charm? You know what I mean? So yeah.
I'm sticking with past castmates. I'm really excited that my top two picks for VPR were not taken.
Your top two? This is your top two?
Yeah, these are my top two. So I'm getting for VPR, I'm getting my picks. Charlie, I think she was really strong. She wasn't afraid to like not respect the veterans. I think an interesting dynamic of Charlie and Stassi together, where they have a shared kind of hatred towards Jax. It could either bring them together or create a lot of like fighting, like, no, I hate him more. I've had more history with him. You don't even know. So yeah, and I think Charlie with another group of like from other casts could be really interesting to see how she interacts with them. So.
Yeah, I feel like Charlie never got her full chance because there was like this sort of territorial, like we've been here for longer than you kind of vibe. And she got to stick around longer than like her other people from that one season, like Dana and whatever the other girl's name was. But like, it never really fully clicked for her on Vanderpump Rules. So I agree. New group of women, she could really click.
No,
she could really become a star.
I was actually thinking the exact same thing. I feel like Charlie never forget her calling like Jax like a 40-year-old bald man or like whatever
Yeah.
insult she tossed. But she's also okay, like a la Lala. Like I would love to see those two like kind of like butt heads. I'm here for it. Gibson, round us out. Oh, you already did your
Yeah, I
two.
already did that. I did my two. So now we're gonna move on to Summer House, our second show to choose from. Vanessa, you get to do the honors of first pick of the litter in Summer House.
Paige DeSorbo.
Yeah,
Paige is the queen of confessionals. She is riding high. Some may call her the queen of Bravo with her King Craig Conover. I just also think seeing Paige with some of the other women being challenged in some ways, it would be very interesting to watch how she reacts with other women who are somewhat dominant and also cheeky themselves.
great pick. I kind of had two number one picks for Summer House for different reasons. But Paige, I'd love to see her around other women. I really would. And she's a girl's girl. So, all right, I am next for Summer House. Shocker, I'm going to choose Lindsay. I just think, again, it's one of those things where, like, I think maybe similarly to Lala, it's like Lindsay sort of exhausted some of the women on her show, and like she's had drama with pretty much all of them at some points. And I think she kind of sticks out like a sore thumb on that show amongst the women. And so I'd love to see her with other women. She's on my cast. She's friends with Ariana. She has some history with a lot of the Bravo women over the past 8 years. So it could be kind of cool to see some of that. And there's probably some of them who don't vibe with her. You know what I mean? So I like that potential. Abby, you are third for Summer House. So you get to do your two in a row.
Oh, lovely. Okay, so someone again that I think we didn't get enough of on Summer House. I feel like she has an interesting story to her. Is Gabby? I think she kind of got like pushed into Lindsay's shadow for that reason. I didn't put Lindsay in my cast for this. I'd like to see Gabby kind of on her own. How would she stand up with a Stassi or other, franchise like other shows, castmates? So I want to put Gabby in there. And I just think she's like really kind of funny and dry. So I like that in some way.
I agree. I actually could see her and Charlie kind of hitting it off.
Yes,
like
that was kind of my thought. Like they'd be little buds, like newbie-ish. Yeah. So gosh, my second one, it's like really hard. I was torn between two people for this. I'm gonna go Hannah, because I think she would do a trip. I really don't want Hannah back on Summer House, but she is, because she's doing so great not on that show. She's hilarious. If you haven't seen her stand up, like it was one of the funniest things I've seen. And I didn't love her on Summer House. So the fact that I'm like now like becoming a Hannah fan is kind of unexpected for me. But the other person I was torn between, I'm curious to see if anyone else picks her, was Jules.
Okay. Yeah, she's kind of a question mark.
Wow.
It's interesting.
Throwback.
I didn't even think about Hannah for some reason, because I think in my mind she's kind of just like taking herself out of the Summer House world so well. Like that's a compliment to her.
Yes.
But I agree. It's like, and also that's such an interesting topic for her to talk about in this, like how she was kind of outcast from the group on that last season of hers, how she's capitalized on the show while also not being Summer House star Hannah Berner. She's just comedian Hannah Berner now. So I think that is like a really, really great dynamic there.
I agree with you, Abby. I became more of a fan of hers afterwards.
Yeah.
And seeing her, like between Paige and Hannah, I'm like a Hannah stan between the two. I just think she's doing great things, and it would be fun to see her challenge people. And also I could see like Lala getting jealous of her success, or like that being a topic of conversation. It would just be really interesting to see.
Yeah.
And she's competitive too. Like, they do little challenges. I think it could be like, oh, like she's athletic. So good little mix.
Absolutely. Okay. Ooh, I could go so many different ways here. I feel like my guess is Vanessa's going to be choosing between one of two people. And I'm trying to decide if I should pick one of them, or if I should totally go left field.
Oh God, I love Rogue and I love stealing, so I don't know.
Okay, you know what? Just to keep it interesting, I'm going Rogue. Okay. And this is no shade to the two people that I was potentially choosing between. I'm choosing Lauren Workus.
Thank you. I was hoping somebody would pick one of the Workus
Listen,
twins. Yes.
It's one of those things. She hasn't been on TV for 6 or 7 years. Those first 2 seasons of Summer House, we all know, weren't the best. But there was something about her that was like kind of watchable in like a kind of a cringe way, and she wanted the moment. She threw that watermelon, and having her and Lindsay on the same island, who knows what they could talk about Carl together. listen, she wasn't my fave necessarily, but she's part of my cast.
I love it.
I love it. That's a strong pick, and actually one that I was not thinking of. The pick that I'm going to go with, because my two picks have been picked, so I had to do some substitution in my head, and I'm going to give it to Amanda. I think we're wanting to see Amanda outside
Yes.
of Kyle's shadow, and what better way to launch her non-existent swimwear line than this ultimate girls trip? Maybe it's a launching
So
pad for it.
true.
I mean, but it just seems like a good fit. I think also we have a lot of strong energy in all of our picks, and you need someone a little quieter, a little more chill. I feel
That's
like
true.
Gabby's one of them, but it would be nice to see Amanda without Kyle.
That's the perfect pick, I think. And I was considering that, but I didn't even think about like the swimwear launch or just sort of like, but Amanda is a girl's girl. It's also just like an extension of her storyline if we saw her without Kyle, right? It's like, here's what I would be like. And I think that's perfect. Did you guys consider Sierra at all?
No.
I didn't, not
Okay.
for anything bad. I think she would be great. I think with Paige being in there, I just would want to break the bed bugs a bit more.
Yeah.
And I think Amanda can stand more on her own without Paige versus Sierra and Paige.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I feel like Sierra is a sensitive soul, and I feel like in that type of environment it might like I think she does well when she feels like close and safe with the group. I think she might really like struggle, and we'd almost like not like her in the sense where because she's not outwardly social. But I do really like Sierra. I'm also really curious to see how she does on Traders. I might be eating my words and be like, oh shit, I should have picked her. But
yeah, well, I think that's why I didn't choose her, because we're about to see her on another show. So it's like,
Yeah.
let her have that moment sort of thing. All right. So our third show that we're each choosing two from is Southern Charm. And I get to go first in this round. Ooh, there are some wild cards in this. I really went through this cast. I was like, damn, there are some people who could really throw it down. But I'm going to go for, I guess, maybe what you talked about, Vanessa, which is sort of like not necessarily the hugest personality, but I think I want her back on my TV. She has a great personality. It's just maybe not a dominant one, is Cam. I miss Cam. I love Cam. She was such a great confessional artist. She was such a good voice of the people. I think she would get along with most of the women. And it would just be fun to see her and catch up with her. And so, and I actually feel like some of the people who have been around for a while have probably known Cam, and they probably lost touch with her. So she's my first pick from Southern Charm.
She was my second pick for those reasons. I also think she has a really cute, like she's very like Charleston in her style. So I think she'd have really cute outfits for like a beach type thing. And I also think she was always like wise beyond her years, just seemed very mature when it came time for like the drama and like handled that really well. And you need someone who can like calm down all these forces on the trip. So that's not just like constant, like,
yeah. Like I'm imagining like Cam breaking up a fight between like Kristen and Lindsay.
Yeah.
It's like, that's great. Okay. Abby, you get to go second.
Okay. So I am going to go a little more bold because I feel like I've got, Gabby in there. I do have some strong personalities with Stassi and Charlie, but I just love her, and I think she just cracks me up with her quick tongue. Madison LaCroix is my first pick.
Yeah. That's a great pick.
I'm like sitting here saying, damn it, that was one of my picks. That Spitfire Madison. Yes.
I have felt, especially in recent seasons, that Madison is this amazing reality star who has everything it takes to be a huge star. And she is a huge star, but sometimes she's like a big fish in a small pond, I think. And like, she doesn't have like a sparring partner always. And that's why that's why she spars with the men a lot, because like some of the women on the show, this is not like, a hit at any of them, but like, she's such a spitfire, like you said. And I'd love to see her kind of have those more housewivesy moments on a show like this.
Her and like a Lindsay or a Stassi.
Please.
I mean, Charlie, I could see Charlie going like target number one, just zeroing in on Madison, which would be a really interesting.
I could also see Madison being like, "Who are you?"
Right? Yeah, totally.
Like why they would go head to head, which would be again very entertaining.
Absolutely. All right, so Vanessa, you get 2 in a row for Southern Charm.
Oh shit! I have okay, my 2 of my picks. And this is me like literally like looking at the cast and flying by the seat of my pants. Okay, pick number one. I'm gonna go with Vanita. I love Vanita. I think
Great.
she is such a girl's girl, a girly girl. And I think sometimes on Southern Charm, like the best moments we've seen with her are the friendship aspect. So again, I think we need a little quieter energy, but she's not afraid to like give us funny commentary at the table and being like, what the F is going on? So I'm gonna put Vanita in there. And then for number two, this is tough because I was not
Mm-hmm.
planning on any of this. I'm gonna give it to Naomi. I think she's kind of thirsty to be back. If I'm being honest, like, I don't know. I just think also it would be interesting to hear the women kind of like going, so your ex Craig, like if Paige were there, it would just be an interesting dynamic to watch.
Yeah, I feel like Naomi. I've always really liked Naomi. Like, obviously, like that stuff with Craig was like a little bit like whatever. But when they brought her back, it wasn't as unsuccessful as I thought that like people read it. Like, I actually enjoyed her when she came back, and I thought that like she could have settled in for another season and not been as try hard. But I don't know. I like that pick because I give her a new scenario, a new location, and I think she would thrive.
I'm also curious if she'll address like there's rumors that she's dating like this like trust fund guy who like their family's like so wealthy that they don't want her on reality TV if
Ah,
she's going to marry into the family. So I think like she could do the trip and I could see someone saying like I could see Madison being like, "All right, let's talk about these rumors. Like would you be on the show if it wasn't for him? And are you like giving up something you want for a man?" Like I think it could be a really interesting conversation and I think Madison might be a good facilitator of it.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So, Abby, I think you're next
Oh,
on
okay.
Southern Charm.
I'm gonna bring back. I like bringing back the blast from the past for these type of things, like a mix of people that are like
Yes.
known in the show, and then bring in one who, if you
Oh
didn't
God.
watch Southern Charm, I'm not going super crazy,
Okay.
but I am gonna bring back Landon. I just feel like she
Oh
was
my
really good
I
at
forgot
starting.
about her.
Yes, like when she then tried to like date T-Rav like for a little bit, I think, or like flirted with
Yep.
him,
Yep,
and
for sure.
I don't know. I think she's also thirsty. And I think that is like you need someone a little bit desperate for the attention in these shows where like I think like Stassi being in there, she's just gonna come in and go out. Like she's like, I don't want this to be something that's like a jumping off point for a reality show. I think Landon is gonna think of this as like an audition and really give us a performance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I don't think I'm going to pick this person. I don't think I'm going to pick Catherine. I feel like she's sort of the elephant in the room with Southern Charm. And I think that,
I agree.
I
None of
think
us
her,
are picking
yeah, I think
Catherine.
her life is like a little bit too tumultuous right now.
Yeah, she
And if
needs
I'm
some
looking at,
help.
and if I'm looking at my cast too, I already have like Kristen, Lindsay, Lauren Workis. Like I have some big people in there. So I'm going to go with Leva because I always have thought that like I really click with Level. I really like connect with her as a person. She's clearly like such a businesswoman and she's such a great mom and she's very like regimented in her life. But I feel like because she's like that and she's in her filming in her hometown, I kind of feel like she holds back a little bit of like, I mean, she started a hospitality nightclub empire in Charleston. Like she clearly had a past moment where she really let loose, right?
Yeah.
I want to see her on a girls' trip vacation away from the kids, away from her duties at her restaurants and nightclubs, and see if she really lets loose. You know what I mean? And it's also one of those things where I don't think she's ever fully connected with a lot of the women, at least during filming on the show. Like I feel like there's something disconnected there. So see how she, works in a different group of women.
One of the interesting things about your two picks is that Cameron and Leva used to be friends. And
Right.
remember, like
And they
Cameron
kind of had,
basically
like-
accused Leva of like using their friendship or whatever. I could be
Yes.
misremembering this, but to be on the show. So it'd be interesting to see them kind of address that head on or if they could bury the hatchet.
Not me accidentally having a really good storyline.
I know. Look at you.
Love that for me. Oh my God. Okay. So we each have picked two people from each of these three shows. We each have 1 to 2 more open slots. We can dip back into any of these three shows. We can dip into Martha's Vineyard, Family Karma, The Valley, even. I guess Below Deck too. Again, I don't watch Below Deck, but there's probably some good people there. Let's see. Because Abby, you have not gone first since the beginning. Abby, you get to go first for this first bonus pick.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a Martha Vineyard pick because it's currently on pause. I think this person is really interesting. I think she's kind of like when you look at who really like shined on Martha's Vineyard and people are like, no, like I'm okay with the show kind of being on pause, but like I want this person somehow to be in another space. So I'm gonna, it's probably pretty obvious I'm gonna pick given that warm up into her, but I'm going with Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Jordan. And she had kind of like a down season this second season. She is such a
Yeah.
star, but she was clearly in like a not the best headspace, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to see her amongst other people. I just really would. All right, that's so Vanessa, you get the next bonus pick.
I'm gonna give it to my girl Danielle Oliveira from Summer House. I know at her core of heart she is a girl's girl, and without trying to get hook up with men, I guess we could hook up with men on this island resorts. I just want her. I want people to see the Danielle I've seen, and I
Yeah,
do think she knows how to stir the pot. She's fun. She loves to party. So I just think it'd be an interesting dynamic to see her in there.
I love that. All right, for my first bonus pick, Jordan was on my list. I'm gonna get Sheena from Vanderpump Rules.
Oh,
Again, it's one of those people who I think that like her story's almost been like written for her on Vanderpump Rules at this point. It's like she gets accused of not being the girl's girl, of like not being the best friend to people, of like being kind of thirsty. What kind of relationship does she have with some of the other women who have been on the shows for long? I know that her and like she's kind of more team Carl and the Lindsay and Carl stuff. Like that could be an interesting dynamic for them to talk out. She went to Mexico to
with
the
Carl's
hotel.
mom.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's a great little storyline right there. So I'm picking Sheena for my first bonus pick.
All right. You get another one, don't you? Or is this it?
You know what? Let's change it around. Vanessa, you get to go first on this set on the last pick. This is your last. You're rounding it out.
My last pick, I'm gonna go Family Karma, and I'm gonna pick Risha, which is different. I feel like Monica would be boring. Anisha doesn't like focuses too much on trying to be funny. Bali, I love her, but I just think Risha, I feel like she's in her relationship and what we've seen on Family Karma, she comes across as like masculine in a way of just how she doesn't care about emotions
Right. No,
and like the shawl and like all their conversations. So I think it'd be fun to see her on a girls trip. And if I remember correctly, she loves to have a good time, loves to party. So I just think it'd be fun to see her thrown in there. And honestly, I could see her just being like, what the F am I doing here? And that commentary would be entertaining to me.
She would bring good commentary. I had Anisha potentially on my list, but I kind of agree that I don't know if she would like vibe with everybody else. That's a great pick. All right, Abby.
My last pick is someone who I'm going to give a chance to have a little bit of a redemption after being the victim of self-producing too much, and it got her off the show. I'm going to give Maya another shot at coming back on. I think giving the Summer House crew a little bit more of like an extra person, just because I have Gabby, Hannah, and Maya. Like they aren't necessarily like your three like stars of that show. So I'll give them a little extra, like they have some support in their corner being from the same show.
I also think that that's an interesting fourth wall breaking conversation. Why didn't Maya feel comfortable talking about that breakup? She famously covered her mic in that finale where she didn't want to talk about her breakup, and it's like, why not? You know, why was that something a hurdle for her? And that could be really kind of interesting conversation. All right, my last pick. I'm going to go with Bria from Martha's Vineyard because I think that she kind of gets side eye, kind of like disregarded on her cast because she does too much a lot of the time. She does kind of overperform on the cameras the way that like her co-stars don't really. But I think in a group with Sheena and Lindsay and Lauren Workis and all these people, she can kind of maybe be more their speed. You know what I mean? So that's kind of that I like.
I feel like Sheena would like take her under her
and
wing
Milo.
And be like, oh yeah,
Milo's the bonus. Milo's
the bonus. Like we get Milo. I mean, that's going to be like a point of contention. Some people are dog people, some people aren't. So we'll see a little bit of season 1, Martha's Vineyard. I think these are great picks.
Yeah, these are great. Okay, so let's just quickly before we sign off, I just want to each of us list who our shows are just quickly. All right, so mine is Ariana, Kristen, Sheena, Lindsay, Lauren Workis, Cam, Leva, Bria, and that's it. Those are my 8, Bria plus Milo. So I think that's a pretty. I like my cast. It's a lot of big personalities, but that's sort of who I gravitate towards on these shows a lot of the time. So I'm happy with
Love
mine.
it.
Abby, who's on your cast?
So I have Stassi, Charlie, Gabby, Hannah, Maya, Madison, Landon, and Jordan. So a nice little mix. Actually, it's a lot of more like blasts from the past, I think, but
I love
it'll
that.
be an interesting dynamic. Yeah.
I'm like forgetting who I picked. Like you guys are like it's so dead. I'm like, no joke. I'm like thinking back.
All right,
I'm
we'll
like,
help you get. We'll help you
Yeah.
get
okay,
through from
so
Vanderpump Rules.
from Vanderpump Rules, I had Katie and Lala.
Yeah.
Then from Summer House, I had Paige and Amanda. I'm remembering now.
And Danielle.
And Danielle. And then Madison. Oh, not Madison. Vanita and Naomi. And then my bonus pick were
Risha. And then you had Danielle.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
yeah. So that okay. Listen, any 3 of these casts, if Peacock was to announce the show tomorrow, I'd be happy with any of these casts. I really would.
I mean, I think they should. Would you want to see the male version at all, or do you have zero interest on seeing?
I don't have zero interest. I just feel like Winter House was sort of what that would be a little bit, and it was just such like a hard partying.
It was too bro for me.
It was like they were just like
yeah.
and it was 2 weeks of them just like getting fucked up every single day, and like.
Yeah.
And maybe if they went to an island, maybe we do this all female version of it, and then we have a Winter House, but like at the beach. Like,
I think
you know what I mean?
They'd
have to be all single too.
It would be interesting to have a mixture of like even the Jersey guys in there, like just like.
Oh God, I feel like then it's just this is a Betty Ford clinic at a beach.
I mean, you're probably not wrong, but I am just thinking of entertainment value.
And I mean, how many shots out of buttholes do we need? I don't know. For me,
Abby!
I'm like,
no, she's not. I mean, you're not wrong.
You're not
I
wrong.
just think there could be something there. I
Yeah,
mean, we say
for
the same
sure.
thing though about Sonia. I mean, there's like other,
Right, I
like,
know.
That's true.
There's similar energy with other people.
That's true.
But you're not.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Right. Well, if somebody's listening from Peacock, from Bravo, this is from our lips to your ears. Like, we want this to happen. And also, bonus from a crossover moment like this, it gives us ample squash that beef material for future BravoCons. So we love cross-show drama, cross-show hookups, cross-show anything. So give it to us. 2025 Ultimate Girls Trip, Non-Housewives.
We'll also accept a producing credit depending on whose cast you pick from. So yes.
Yeah, they actually have to purchase this IP from us, actually. Okay, all right. Thank you guys so much. Everyone listen to Real Moms of Bravo wherever you get your podcast. Check out their Instagram page. And Vanessa and Abby, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
I want to gab.